Welcome to this week's Tiny Table Talks. Today's guest is a good friend of ours. Her name is Blair.
Blair's a person, if you get to know her, you're going to quickly realize she sees that there is brokenness and injustice in the world and is so quick to lovingly and patiently call it out and help educate. And that is something that, Blair, I truly admire in you.
So without further ado, let's bring Blair to the Tiny Table.
Good morning, Open Table Friends Church. My name is Blair Settles, and I'm here today to talk about loving God and loving your neighbor. First, I want to start off with reading Mark chapter 12, verses 28 to 31, which is one of the places where we see this commandment. One of the teachers of the law came and heard them debating, them being the religious leaders. Noticing that Jesus had given them a good answer, he asked him, "Of all the commandments, which is the most important?" "The most important one," answered Jesus, "is this: Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There's no commandment greater than these." So what does it mean to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength? For me, personally, that means not loving God with just a part of myself, but loving him with everything that I am, through every thought, emotion, decision I make, or action I take. And then the second part of that, loving my neighbor as I love myself, for me means allowing God's love to flow through me and out to others. This means showing grace, offering forgiveness, having compassion, really important, and looking out for the well-being of others and not just for myself. So in other words, not being selfish. For me, loving my neighbor isn't always easy, and it's something that I have to be intentional about. The other part of that is there are no qualifiers as to who is included as our neighbor. I recently ordered a t-shirt that I love, and it includes different groups that are our neighbors. At the top, it says, "Love thy neighbor." Then it says, "Thy homeless neighbor, thy Muslim neighbor, thy Black neighbor, thy LGBTQ neighbor, thy immigrant neighbor, thy Jewish neighbor, thy disabled neighbor, thy imprisoned neighbor, thy Buddhist neighbor, thy Hispanic neighbor." This is by no means an exhaustive list, but you get the idea. So in John chapter 13, verses 34 to 35, Jesus says, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." Now, I can't ever read these verses without immediately humming the song. They'll know we are Christians by our love. I would sing it for you right now, but I think I'll spare you the torture that is my singing. But I think, especially during this current climate, where Christians are not always equated with love, I think we really need to be intentional about showing the love of God to our neighbors through how well we love them, how well we look out for them, how well we have compassion, how well we, think of their needs and their well-being above ours.
Jesus made it clear that he did not come to abolish the laws of the Torah, but to fulfill them. The life and teachings of Jesus then embodied all that these laws were intended to be. Jesus is what the living, breathing will of God looks like. This includes compassion for the poor, esteem for women, healing for the sick, solidarity with the suffering. It means breaking bread with outcasts and embracing little children. It means choosing forgiveness over retribution, the cross over revenge, and cooking breakfast for the friend who betrayed you.
So, when Jesus was asked, what are the two greatest commandments? What are the laws above all laws? It's to love God and to love people and to love yourself.